Everybody, it looks like we're getting a little bit of a bounce here in crypto. We're back towards at the top of the range here, so when we're back over here we needed to see some type of structure, and that's exactly what we're seeing a higher low so far, a higher low, and so far we don't have a higher high yet. So this could maybe be some kind of triangle in here. It could be, again, some type of maybe ascending triangle in here where we come back down, play a little bit up here, maybe back test, and hopefully continue rolling up. So there's quite a few different things that could occur. This could also be, by the way, watch this. Look at this. On the Paul Barron network, basically Ethereum ETF in 10 days, right? So there's discussion going on right now. Let's take a listen.
And Garasi, and they were talking about, how much in the way of changes did you have to make for the ETF when it would launch? So what kind of things would they have to do to be able to deal with the ETF launch itself? Take a look.
How much do you need? How much did you need to amend your application, and when do you think approval might be likely?
Yeah, great questions, Bob. I can't speak beyond what's in the filing, but I think if you look, the amendments from the previous one were relatively limited, and that tells us that we're getting closer to the finish line. I think what you're hearing about this week or next, that makes sense to me. This has been a very fast process. Remember, only 2 months ago, no one thought we were going to see these ETFs. Now it seems likely we will, and we'll see what the response is.
So just for people not familiar with...
So that's interesting. Spot Ethereum trading could be days away, so maybe within, a couple weeks, which is a very interesting development considering where that piece of information is coming from, which is the bottom potentially of this ABC leg, this three-wave correction that we've been looking at for the last several weeks now, right? So we'll see how, when this thing launches, how much demand there actually is behind the institutionals, right? We'll see how that plays, but yeah.
The fact that the amendments that you had, the SEC filed comments in response to your S1, and you now filed amended comments. The fact that the changes you had to make were minimal is a good sign, right? For people who don't understand this process.
That's right. It's like a fine-tuning.
Yeah, so basically they applied for the ETF, it was approved, but they had to change some of their S1 filings, to make it, politically correct, I guess you can say. So there was a little bit of back and forth trying to get things in line, but they've reformed it, and looks like it could be in the clear.
Process. Sometimes it takes one amendment. For the Bitcoin ETFs, I think it took 6 amendments. We're on amendment 2 or 3 on Ethereum, but we're getting to the end of the road is what it looks like based on the scale of the changes. You can't guarantee anything. You could get a curveball at any point, but it feels like we're getting to the sharp end of the point.
All right, so that's good. If they are in the alliance of saying, okay, well, their changes are getting less or less critical, that usually will mean that you're going to see the trigger occur. Trigger meaning marketing. And when we start seeing that marketing start to flow out, that next step is an approval. I think, again, back to the point of where these asset managers will start to understand a lot more about ETH as a whole in terms of investment class, and really start to change some minds out there. Further thing into this is you look at whether or not ETH versus Bitcoin, because this is the scenario that I think this is what's happening out there, at least when asset managers I talk to, is they always weight that, it's ETH versus Bitcoin, what mix.
So anyways, yeah, that's they gotta figure it out, because if the SEC is saying, hey, fix this, then they come back and fix it, and they go, okay, well, yeah, you got to go back and fix this. It's like, you're in second grade, and you're doing some math problems, and you're sitting there, and you're doing it, and then you go up to your teacher, did I get it right? No, go back there, and they take an eraser, and they erase it, go back and fix that. So you go back and sit in your desk, and then you keep trying to figure out the math problem. You come back up to show your teacher. She goes, no, you got to, erase that and go back. I mean, that's what it feels like. They're treating you like like little kids. It's all a game. Like, just tell us exactly what needs to be done so there's no more delays, no more BS. But that's the Washington, D.C. deep state red tape for you, right? It's all, that's one of the things about pro crypto Trump, right? He came in there and cut all those ridiculous regulations, right? So I understand that it needs to be correct and it needs to be right, but my goodness, there should be a very clear thing, right? And everyone who's applying for the ETF should know exactly how to, get it produced, right? Get it out there. So we'll see if it all gets approved, right? I mean, it is approved, but we'll see if it starts to go live, or we'll see if they're just kind of playing games, going back and forth, right? So I just don't like how the SEC ultimately has control over the timing of when it's actually launched, right? But anyways, that's good news, though. We'll see if it gets launched, and if it does, then we can see some price movement. I mean, it really looks like Bitcoin here. So here's Ethereum on the right-hand side, and you can kind of see what it's doing, right? And what I like about it is it kind of reminds me of what happened back over in Bitcoin back in the summer of 2023. So basically a year ago, right? You can see a very similar structure in here. Let me put some annotations on. So this area right here is, an area of interest of what I'm looking at here for Ethereum, right? So if we can start getting some 1-2s in here, if we can start seeing some divergences, right? Because at the end of the day, I think ultimately this thing is in a bullish correction, right? So, with that Ethereum ETF potentially right around the corner, we could get some sideways movement up in here, but before you know it, we can start exploding to the upside, very similar to what Bitcoin did back in the day, because you can see right here we have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout. And you can see that's probably what's happening with Ethereum. We have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, let's go sideways, and let's break out. You can see we came right back to the bottom of the range, just like what Bitcoin did. So, when we zoom out here, that was also coming off of a 5-wave move, right? So we had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So the same thing here with Bitcoin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is some type of ABC structure, right? Now, it is a flat pattern, right, where the price doesn't go below that initial A wave. It basically makes a double bottom. But on the, that's sort of the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, if this is going to be an actual ABC, that takes out the low, going down to like, $2,400 or so, $2,600. And then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC, right? That actually takes out this low, then goes up. But I would actually prefer it if we could just go sideways like we did back here with Bitcoin. So let me remove that here. And so now, is there any confluence in that? And yes, there is. I was actually going to show something like this, as if we were to get a bounce in here, but somebody actually beat me to it. So I decided, let's jump into it right now. So look at this. This is gold and this is Bitcoin, right? And what's really interesting about this is right here. Actually, let me just show you this screenshot here. You can see gold at the top, right? And you can see Bitcoin at the bottom. And basically what gold did is something similar to what Bitcoin is doing now, right? You can see this blue area, which is the top of the cycle. We came down, we had divergence, we had a 1-2, right? And then what did we do? We sort of created this basin here, similar to what Bitcoin is doing. But what's really interesting is look at the shape, right? ABC on gold. We had a massive ABC here on the price of gold, right? And that's exactly what Bitcoin is doing. And what's interesting about it is the ABC is coming, right at the top of the all-time high. So that's exactly what Bitcoin is doing. And then it's also in a 5-wave move, right? You can see gold, 1, 2, 3, ABC, 4, 5. You can see Bitcoin, 1, 2, 3, ABC, pullback for wave 4, right? It looks very, very similar. So you could see gold right here had that 5th wave to the upside. And so far we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like we need one more to finish up for gold. And I think gold is top for maybe a while. We'll see how that goes. But, it looks like a really promising fractal. So we have the Ethereum potential ETF coming soon, right? We have the Ethereum Bitcoin fractal where we kind of trend sideways for a bit in reaccumulation, or even potentially taking out the low on that C leg. So we're very, very close. And then we also have the gold versus gold fractal, right? When you compare that to what Bitcoin is doing. So, and basically the highlight being the ABC structure right at the all-time high. ABC structure right at the all-time high. So, yeah, here it is, side by side here, right? And I'm really liking this ABC in here. So, and what's also interesting, right, is if I pull the fibs on this, where did we come from? Or where did we land to? We landed exactly to just beyond the 1-to-1. So we barely missed that 1-to-1, and that's typical in a flat pattern, right? So yeah, we barely hit that 1-to-1. Now if we go over here with Bitcoin, right, and we look at where this ABC landed, we can see it landed right at just beyond the 1-to-1. So it perfectly hit the 1-to-1 and went a little bit above it. The same thing happened with gold right here. So just barely nicked it, just barely nicked it. ABC, ABC. So man, it's looking pretty good here for the price of Bitcoin. If this fractal is going to play, right? It might not play out. We'll know eventually. But essentially, what we want to look for here is the price, essentially, going sideways in here, and you can see what happened. Actually, let me go to a smaller time frame, maybe the 3-day chart. Gold likes to move a lot slower than crypto does, so I have it on a higher time frame. And now we'll switch this back over maybe to the 16-hour chart, something like that. So now we're comparing basically, this wave here with this wave. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and similar here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in the third wave, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So what we really need to figure out is, are we going to get one more low here, right? Which would basically, if we do, it would be 1, 2. All of this is 3. Then we get 4, then 5. And in the third wave, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would make sense, right? We would also get bullish divergence on the microstructure, on the micro count, right? But hitting that 1-to-1 extension kind of makes me think, we're probably have a good shot at having a bottom here, especially we're on a 3-day 9 as well, and a 4-day 9. I'll jump into that. But if you look at both structures here, right here, for example, we had a 1, 2 on Bitcoin. Same thing with gold. Basically, we had a 1, 2, we had a double bottom. So what do we want to see next for Bitcoin? Well, we want to see like gold did, it basically had a big pump to the upside and took out the high. So that's exactly what we want to see for Bitcoin. We want to see a big pump that takes us to about maybe 60, 61K, right? About that 60, 61K area. And then, you can see how we sort of, we're trending sideways a little bit, and then we pop to the upside right here, right? We kind of bottlenecked and then shot to the upside. So it'll be interesting to see how that will play out. You can see we had, for gold right here, we had a 5-wave move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if this is wave 1, then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 3, wave 4, and then wave 5. That would be nice to see. So this wave actually came parallel to this breakdown, so that would actually take us to about 71 and a half, 72K, if that was gonna continue to play out here for Bitcoin. So we'll keep an eye on the gold and Bitcoin fractal. I wanted to bring you guys something fresh, something new to look at. It is looking pretty good here. So if I just kind of drew that like this, right? Something like this. So we'll see. I don't know. Looks good, right? All right. So that's that for Bitcoin. And so now I wanted to show you something side by side here with Dogecoin and XRP, right? Having it side by side really, you can kind of see what I'm getting at here, right? With Dogecoin, back in the day, right, we had this big pump back into a sideways base, right? Same thing with XRP, big pump into a sideways base. And then what happened? And then Dogecoin went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Monster leg to the upside. Same thing with XRP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Monster leg to the upside. And then what did Dogecoin do? Then Dogecoin went into this long sort of accumulation structure. Let me zoom in a little bit right there. And then I'm going to take this and zoom it in a little bit right about there. Okay, so you can kind of see, right? It's not perfect, but you can see, right? We had this crash. We had this retrace. We went down into reaccumulation, and then we went sideways, and then we broke out. So this little area here is, in my opinion, similar to what this little area is doing back over here. Now, it's not the same. It's not perfect. The structure is a little bit different. But the overall, phase and sort of shape of it is very similar, right? So, this is looking interesting, right? And at the end of the day, right, we want to see what happened to XRP, what it did back in the day, right? So essentially, this is just another version of what this is, right? So you can see the rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, right? So this little area here, same thing with this area here, we got this big pump, right? So if we go to the current structure, right? I mean, look how high this thing went. It went insane. Now, I don't think it's going to go that as high as Dogecoin did, but you can clearly see, right? We sort of had this little deviation here. That was C19. We came back up. We had another deviation. We came back down. We went sideways and we broke out. So, I'm thinking this little deviation is similar to what this deviation here is. And we kind of went flat. We went down, sideways, down, down, flat, down. So something similar. It's going to be hard to see. Let me actually remove this here. And then let me remove this here. So I'm trying to get better at looking at two charts side by side here. It's much easier on a computer, but I don't like to record on a computer for other reasons. But you know, this has me wondering if this, there's a few different ways you can look at it, right? You could say that's the ABC there, this is the ABC there, right? You can also say this like that, and this like that, and then we go, right? So that could still be a situation, right? A factor as well. But anyway, I just wanted to show you both structures sort of side by side, especially Dogecoin. When you look at, basically what I really wanted to show you is this right here. I mean, you can see how many waves we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but XRP only has 1, 2, 3. We haven't gotten 5 yet. Now you could say, well, 5 was truncated. Maybe that's the case, but basically 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm comparing it right here, comparing that to right here, right? So this whole structure is this structure. So we want to see a big breakout, and basically all that means is, ammunition is kind of hard to come by, right, with crypto. And XRP definitely has, the lawsuit, the XRP ETF, the Ripple IPO, the also riding off the back of the Ethereum ETF, giving hope and confidence and conviction that other altcoins will get their ETFs. Plus you got the regulations and things like that. So, and then also the election, pro crypto president, right? So yeah, I think there's a good argument to be made that that the bottom could be very, very close, and we should start to see a bigger retracement. So another thing also, right, is we have all the waves necessary for a triangle here. So we can see this third wave being a W, X, and a Y, right? And we can also see this was an A, B, C right there for that degree. So let me change that to, I think that would be the minute, or no. Okay, there we go. So, we have 3 and 3, right? And then also we have an A, B, C here, and then we also have an A, B, C here. So I gotta fix the degree on that because it's not the minute, this is something else. But basically, that's what we have. And long story short, if this is a completed triangle, similar to the way this triangle was completed, right? We have also a triangle A, B, C, and then D, and then E. And if you take that 3-wave move, right, it's a lot smaller structure, but we had a 3-wave shape here, similar to the 3-wave shape we see now. So, if this is getting ready to bottom out here, right, we have, actually let me zoom in and show you this here, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you can also say it's 3, right? So we have 3, we have 3, we have 3. Looks like 3 to me, right? So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. 3, or yeah, 3, and this is 3, this is 3. So this basically, it's a big three-wave move that's correcting this sort of reaction from that retracement, right? So, you know, it's probably still going to take some time to really figure this out, but essentially that's what we have here. So let me get rid of all that, and if I turn on the sequential and I go to the 4-day, run a 9 with a powerful, with a very powerful, very big, long-legged wick. I mean, look at that 8, right? If you see an 8 candle with a huge wick like that, I mean, that's kind of how you know, right, that at least the local bottom is in for now, right? Either if it's a 9 buy or a 9 sell, right? So if I flip this upside down, and you can see how big that wick is to the top there. So that could be a reversal right there. So you know, we have that, all of those things I basically said. The Ethereum launching, right? The fractal of Bitcoin and gold. You also have XRP on a 4-day 9. Now you can say, well, who cares about XRP? But if you look, right, even Algorand, for example, I mean, look at this. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have an A, or actually it would be 1, 2, 3, a W, X, and a Y. So WXY. So this thing looks like it's probably bottomed here, and we can see divergence as well, even on the 4-day. So, you know, this is probably a good spot, maybe for a reversal here, at least a bounce, guys, and then we can reevaluate later. So the bounce, we want to see it get back up into here. So I think this is going to bottom out here. You can see right here from there to there, right? We had some divergence, so I think a move back up to here would be ideal, and then let's see, right? But then also, right, when we look at Bitcoin, we're also on an 8. So tomorrow we're gonna get a 9, and look at the 8. It's a bullish hammer candle, right? It's like sort of a reversal candle, right? So tomorrow we will get the 9, right? So in about 24 hours we'll get it. But then we have to wait 4 days for that 9 to close, right? So we have plenty of time, right? So we really want the 9 to close, to be in the vicinity of the 8. And we also, you can see how this 7 wick down there, you can see the 8 wick down there. So when we get a 9, we're probably going to wick down here again as well, which is going to get more people bearish, right? Because anytime you have a big wick like this, the following candle trades below it, it's also going to wick down and retrace at least 50% of this wick here, right? You can see this wick here was a big wick, right? And we actually traded all the way down to about maybe 45% of the way there. So the following candle, right? So within 5 days, we should get at least a retest of these wicks here. So if I draw like a little trend line here, maybe we wick down here like this, and then we can build somewhat of a ascending triangle, right? Something like that. That would be nice to see. So yeah, that's that for there. But then also, right, we have a 3-day 9, and that 3-day 9 is printed, and now we have the 2 red dots there, right? So those red dots come in at 58.5K, So that's kind of our setup there, and that's basically what I've been saying. You know, we want to really wait for some definition to show up, you know, regarding shape. Is it a triangle? Is it ascending? Is it a channel? Is it a diagonal? Is it an inverse head and shoulders? Is it an impulse? Right? We don't know until it forms, and now we're starting to get more of an indication. So subscribe and don't miss out, because I think this thing's gonna start moving quickly here. Yeah, I think you know, this is at the very least some kind of three-way move up, right? If we get rejected, we come back down, then it's gonna probably be 3 down. So like 3, 3, and then maybe we get 3 or 5. So something like a bigger correction, right? And then from there we have to see how it forms. So that's about it for Bitcoin there. Let's switch gears a little bit and see, you know, if we can see anything on MATIC here. Now MATIC, I think, man, I wish I would have pulled the trigger on MATIC, because it did grab a lot of liquidity, which I liked. And you know, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, goodness sakes. Do we have bullish divergence? Not on the 12-hour. I don't even think on the daily either. Yes, we do. We have bullish divergence. It's not very too strong, but it's definitely, the divergence is coming from oversold territories, which is always interesting. You know, I would have preferred this one to actually, you know, stay in the purple, but it was a pretty extended move. And then if you look at you know, where we're at now, we did take out this low here, so it's gonna be all about reclaiming that, right? So I wouldn't even attempt to get in until it can prove itself, right? So it's probably gonna build maybe a triangle or something, and you know, maybe some kind of pattern here that breaks us out. If we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I still wouldn't buy it. I would wait till we come A, B, C, and we back test this area. So 50 cents is a good spot, but not right now though, right? We want to wait for it to reclaim it, then back test it, right? And then we would have more confidence in it. So you know, because this still could be just a three-way move. You know, if we're going to be in a bear market and then things are reversing, we have 5, and then we get an ABC. So ABC, it can actually do that, right? And then double bottom with here, and then we would have some kind of diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Some kind of falling wedge here, and then we explode to the upside. Actually, I kind of like that, really, to be honest with you. I'll have to reconsider. QNT, you know, QNT has been one of those very struggling with. I mean, we do have some big divergence here, triple on the daily. Do we have another? Okay, so link. I mean, you know, it could be a finished wave here, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have an ABC. I just don't really like the shape of it. It just looks too much of a head and shoulders to me. But if this here gets reclaimed, which I think it almost is, not quite. So this could be a liquidity grab right here, right? If we come down and we retest as resistance and we continue going down, obviously it's not going to be good. But if we sort of level off, we break up and we have 5 waves and we pull back and we hold a support, that's where we're at, where we really have to, reclaim our support here. So hopefully that was just a fake out. SEIUSD, I mean, you got this 1 2 3 4 5 A B C, or 1 2 3 4 5, but I don't really like the 5th. 1 2 3, sort of 1 2 3, and then we have a triangle for wave 4, and now this is wave 5. So it looks like, it could be done. That's a pretty big impulse there. So when we're overlapping as well. So yeah, let's get a ABC pullback on this one. Let's see. Yeah, that definitely impulsed pretty strongly. I mean, we are up about 40% off the low. So, I mean, that's a pretty big pump there. Imagine if you're going up, right? And then you crash 40%, that's what that would be like. You just crashed 40%. So we just pumped 40%. That's a good area. But we only have 3 waves though. So I want to see this thing turn into 1 2 3 4 5. And then ABC, and then that would be a good spot to buy there. API 3, 4-day chart. I don't really just, there's a lot of other charts out there, but 1 2 3 4 5 ABC. I mean, yeah, it looks done. You have this base here. We broke out. We back tested the base. It's the same story as all the others. Binance coin. This is an expanded flat. You can see how it faked out to the upside. See how it came down and it went up. It made you think that this is a flat here, which it was. And then we had a B wave, right? So, and then that doji, and then we brought it right back down. So that right there is an ABC, basically an expanded flat. So, and that's basically a good example of an expanded flat is right here. That's exactly what Bitcoin did. Same thing. And look what it did after that. So, are we in that sequence? Yeah, okay, yeah. So we had a 1 2 1 2, and then we came up, expanded flat. So if we go back to Bitcoin, same thing here. Look at this, guys. Look at this. It's the same thing. Let me actually go to the 2-day so you can see it a little better. Look at this. Same thing what BNB's doing. We have a 1 2 1 2. We come up, expanded flat. So where's BNB at right now? It's right there. So, man, I don't trade BNB, but, if people do, I think that would be a good spot. At least for a bounce, right? So this is obviously a 1 and then a 2. So 1 2. And then you have a 1 2 1 2 3 4. And then you're probably going to get one more wave, and that's 5. So then what you have is a flat, and then a 1 2 3 4, or I'm sorry, 1, 2, all of this is going to be 3, then we get 4, then we get 5 later on, right? So we haven't even completed the third wave yet of this thing. And you can see BNB loves to do these flat patterns, right? I mean, you can see this is a big running flat where we had a 3-way move down. It looked like a big impulse, but it was actually just part of a B wave. So, and you can see it's one of the very few coins that actually took out the top back in 2019. You know, when Bitcoin was 20K, you know, it ran up to 14K. It didn't get up to there, right? Where a BNB did. And then when it had this COVID thing, right, it actually kind of back tested the same area of where Bitcoin did. So, very interesting chart, none the least. The whole chart itself looks to me like a 1. This is a 1. That's 2. This is 3. That's 4. And then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So, you know, it looks like we still have more upside to go. That's what it would suggest, right? Doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, right? Not financial advice. Still looking at this base channel as well. I mean, when you look at a base channel, right, you could say, well, it doesn't match because it broke out here. But if you know, it's all about connecting as many lines as you can. So if you start at the bottom actually has a really good trend line here, right? You can see touch, touch, touch. It's pretty accurate. So all I do is you just extend it to the upside and connect 1 and 2, and then this is kind of like a fake out in here, right? So, you know, we got all the way back down to the bottom of this channel here. So, you know, typically when you get down here, now we want to at least target back to the middle, which is about, this is the market cap of Bitcoin. So, you know, this 1.2 trillion. So, yeah, let's see how that plays out. Dominance. I haven't talked about dominance in a while. I mean, there is, I would imagine, some massive bearish divergence here on Bitcoin. Let's actually go to the weekly. So I'm not sure why, but I like to look at dominance upside down. For some reason, it's a little bit better. But this to me looks like what? It looks like we have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. Now we're probably going to go sideways and then break out. So when you flip that upside down, right, this is alt season right here. And you can see it's sort of like an ending move. I mean, it could be a lead-in for a higher move. And I think ultimately Bitcoin dominance will rise. If Bitcoin gets a 5th wave, Bitcoin dominance is going to rise initially, but I think it'll fall. You know, usually it'll come up, spike the high, and then come down. You can see divergence, bearish divergence here on the weekly chart. So, is it better to be in Bitcoin? Is it better to be in altcoins? I think long term it's better to be in altcoins, depending which altcoin you're holding, because you're only going to accumulate so much percentage value with Bitcoin. Even if it did go to $250,000, it's still not nearly as much of a percentage as, for example, XRP just getting back to the all-time high, or Theta just getting back to the 702, right? I mean, that in itself is huge. So speaking of Theta, let's look at it. Okay, let's go right there. I'll flip that back. So, you know, not much has changed with theta. I have to go to the 4-hour. We do have a 3-wave shape. I'm sure there's bearish divergence. Yep. What I mean by that is you can see this is going down and this is kind of flat, right? So hidden bear. But that's to be expected on the first couple moves. This looks like it needs a pullback. The way it went up, it looks like it's getting exhausted. I mean, it looks like a retracement. This thing looks like it needs to come down, I think, right? Let's go to the 1-hour. Yeah, you can see that we have a 1-hour 9 sell, and it looks like it's struggling here to get back above. So I'm wondering, you know, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, maybe this is a B, and then we get a C wave. So some type of A, B, C. We get back, gets us back down here at the lows. Maybe gives us some bullish divergence, and then we can go. I still think this range is going to be tested. You know, because we've been testing the top here quite a bit, but there's a lot of empty space down here at the bottom, so we could see something down in here. So we'll see how that will play out. XRP, same. It looks exactly the same. This looks corrective, like we had impulse, retracement. Impulse, you can see a 3-wave retracement. So it looks like it needs to come back down. That's a tough one, you know, because I'm still in my trade. I'm still waiting to see, you know, because I would really like to see a legit move that gives us a 3-wave shape like so. A, B, C. You know, some kind of move that comes up here and takes the high. But if we come back down, then it looks like it's an impulse with a 3-wave pullback, and that would be a good spot to buy. So it's actually more bullish for the price to go down than it is to go up. Because if it goes up, it's going to create a 3-wave shape to the upside, which is ultimately bearish, right? But if it comes back down, it's actually correcting this impulse. Because this is a big impulse here. A lot bigger than Theta, a lot bigger than Bitcoin. Pretty big. So let's see if we can get that ABC pullback. Same thing with Theta. A, B, C. Impulse, A, B, C. Right? And that would be a good spot to buy. So I think I'm going to take some profits on my trade here. We're right at resistance. You know, we're right at resistance. And it looks like it's, you know, trying to stall out a little bit. So, but, you know, you might just get a little bit of a pullback. Let me look at the 20-minute chart. Or it could be maybe a triangle, right? But it doesn't make too much sense because, okay, so A, B, maybe we get C, right? Then we get D, and then we get E, and then we go. So some type of triangle, right? That would be nice to see. But typically, coming from a downtrend, you would actually have the triangle go down, not up. Or at least for a fake out to the downside and then start to curve up. But yeah, it's whatever it's doing, it's definitely not finished yet. It looks like it's got to come down a little bit. So if it comes back down and then it resets bullishly, you know, we could see maybe a 1-2, 1-2. But very hard to say. It's basically just me guessing at this point. But if I had to guess, I think it needs to come down a little bit, you know. So we'll see. We're right at resistance, right? So I would like to see it come back and retest this order block down here at 129. CRV. I'm actually liking CRV a lot. Since I got in really good price, I think 22.4. No, 23. Yeah, 23.4. So I'm okay holding it right now. I mean, that right there is exactly what we wanted to see. We wanted to see a very sharp impulse, right? You can see we had a low. We barely took that low out. There was a lot of liquidity resting there. We had a big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is clearly an impulse. That's what we want to see for Theta. That's what we want to see for Bitcoin. That's what we want to see for XRP. We want to see a massive move that comes up and challenges this high here. Not underneath the high, right? Because if you compare that to like what Theta did, I mean, it kind of went up like this, right? And then it kind of went back down. So there's no sharp move up like this that gets us up here, right? And then it kind of comes back down. So that's what we want to see, is getting back, at least $1.60 area, right? For Theta and XRP as well, getting back above that previous high there. But, when I zoom in on CRV, what is it doing now? And that's another reason I think it's probably topped, or not topped, but, this move here. If this is wave 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it looks like now we're creating an ABC. So A, B, and then C. Maybe we come down and back test that line there. So yeah, A, B, C there. Let's go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Now it can be more complex as well, because it's got to be bigger than this because it's in a different degree. So it might be 3 and then come back down for 5. So it might be a big ABC, right? Coming all the way back down to where my entry was. And then that would be a very good buy if we can get that, right? And that would set us up for hopefully a big third wave. And if it isn't, then at least a C leg, right? So we have A, B, C, or it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I think we might need a little bit of a pullback here. Now, just real quick, Bitcoin on that small time frame. Okay, so yeah, that would make sense too, because Bitcoin looks like it needs a little bit of a pullback. We have this ABC, and you can kind of see how we're sort of in this channel here, and we're sort of bumping our heads, getting right back towards the resistance. So it kind of looks like it needs to come down. It's gonna. This is our range. We're building a base. This is hashing out a bottom. You don't go straight up. You don't go straight down. You basically go up, down, up, down. You basically hash out a bottom where accumulations get set in, and then you can start to accelerate here. So that'll do it for this video. Hopefully that was a little bit helpful for everybody, and I will catch you on the next one. Hit that like button, please. I would be very appreciative if you can. And if you have any coins you want me to take a look at, you can go ahead and drop them in the comment section, and I'll do my best to circle around and look at it. But other than that, you guys have a good week. I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.